Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching moment when you realize the person you love is slipping away? Mark knew that feeling all too well. He and his wife Sarah had been together for 7 years, married for 5. They were high school sweethearts, the couple everyone believed would last forever. But lately, a chilling distance had grown between them. Sarah, once so vibrant and affectionate, had become a stranger in their own home. It started subtly. Late nights at work, she claimed, were for a big project. The phone calls she'd take in another room, her voice a hushed whisper, and Mark tried to ignore the gnawing feeling in his stomach. He told himself it was just stress, that every long-term relationship had its rough patches. He tried to bridge the gap, planning date nights, buying her flowers, telling her he loved her more often. But each attempt was met with a polite but detached smile. One evening, Mark decided to make her favorite dinner, a creamy Tuscan chicken pasta. He lit candles, put on some soft jazz, and waited for her to come home. The clock ticked past 7, then 8, then 9. He called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Just as panic began to set in, he got a text. "So sorry, got held up at the office. Don't wait up." His heart sank. The perfectly cooked pasta sat untouched, the candles burning down 2 puddles of wax. The next day, Mark decided he couldn't live in this limbo anymore. He needed to know the truth, no matter how much it might hurt. He remembered Sarah mentioning a new cafe her team often went to for lunch near her office. It was a long shot, but he drove there, a knot of dread tightening in his chest. He parked across the street, his car feeling like a spy's hideout. He waited, feeling foolish and paranoid. Just after 1 o'clock, he saw her. Sarah walked out of her office building, laughing, her head tilted back in a way he hadn't seen in months. But she wasn't alone. Walking beside her was a man, tall and well-dressed. The man's hand was resting on the small of her back. As Mark watched, frozen in his seat, the man leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't a quick, friendly peck. It was a long, passionate kiss, the kind Sarah used to give him. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The air was sucked from his lungs. It wasn't a project keeping her late. It wasn't work stress that made her distant. It was him. Another man. The woman he had built his entire world around had given her heart, her love, her passion to someone else. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, a physical blow that left him breathless. He saw them get into the man's car and drive away, leaving Mark alone with the shattered pieces of his marriage. He drove home in a daze, the city lights blurring through his tear-filled eyes, walked into their house. A place that once felt like a sanctuary, but now felt like a mausoleum of dead memories. Every photo on the wall, every shared object, felt like a lie. He sat on the edge of their bed, the bed they had shared for years, and the silence was deafening. He had asked for the truth, and now he had it. The question was, what was he going to do now? When Sarah came home late that night, she found Mark sitting in the dark living room, a single lamp illuminating his grim face. She started her usual excuse, "Oh, Mark, you're still up?" The project was just ... but he cut her off. His voice was eerily calm, devoid of all emotion. "I saw you, Sarah. I saw you with him." The color drained from her face. The mask of indifference she had worn for months finally crumbled, replaced by shock and panic. "Mark, I can explain." But could she? Explain away the betrayal? Could she explain why she chose to break his heart instead of just talking to him, as the excuses began to pour out? "It's not what you think," she stammered. "We've just grown apart. The love, it just faded. Mark's voice cracked, the first sign of the storm brewing inside him. "Love doesn't just fade, Sarah. You gave it to someone else. You took the love that was meant for me, for us, and you handed it over to him. You didn't even have the decency to tell me. Let me sit here, night after night, wondering what I did wrong, blaming myself, while you were building a new life behind my back." The confrontation was brutal. Tears were shed, accusations were thrown, and the ugly truth of their broken marriage was laid bare. Sarah admitted the affair had been going on for 6 months. It started with a colleague, a friendly lunch that turned into something more. She claimed she was unhappy, that she felt neglected, but Mark knew those were just justifications for her actions. She had a choice, and she chose to deceive him. In the days that followed, their house became a battleground of sorrow and anger. Mark packed her bags for her. Couldn't stand to look at her, to be in the same room with the woman who had so thoroughly destroyed his trust. Seeing her clothes, her things, was a constant painful reminder of her betrayal. He handed her the packed suitcases. "I think you should go," he said, his voice flat. Watching her walk out the door for the last time was both the most painful and the most liberating moment of his life. The home was silent again, but this time it was a different kind of silence. It wasn't the heavy silence of secrets and lies. It was the empty silence of a new beginning. A terrifying, uncertain, but necessary beginning. The healing process was slow and agonizing. Some days the pain was a dull ache. On other days it was a tidal wave that threatened to drown him. He leaned on his friends and family who rallied around him, offering support and a much-needed distraction. His best friend Dave dragged him out of the house, forced him to go to the gym, to go for a beer, to do anything other than wallow in his misery. Slowly, very slowly, Mark began to piece himself back together. He started focusing on himself, rediscovering hobbies he had let go of during his marriage. He started hiking again, feeling the burn in his legs as he climbed mountains. The physical exertion, a welcome release for his emotional turmoil. He started painting, something he hadn't done since college, filling canvases with the raw emotions he couldn't put into words. One day, months later, he was at a local coffee shop, sketching in his notepad, when a woman approached his table. "Excuse me," she said. "I don't mean to interrupt, but that's a beautiful drawing." Mark looked up, startled. She had a warm smile and kind eyes. They started talking first about art, then about life. Her name was Chloe, and for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, Mark felt a spark of connection that had nothing to do with pain or betrayal. It wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was slow, cautious. Mark was honest with her about his past, about the scars he carried, and she was patient. She understood that trust, for him, was a fragile thing. But with every shared laugh, every deep conversation, every comfortable silence, she was helping him rebuild it. She showed him that love didn't have to be a source of pain, that it could be a source of healing. Mark learned that sometimes the most devastating endings are not really endings at all. They are brutal, painful transformations that pave the way for a new beginning. His story with Sarah was over, a chapter closed. But his own story, the story of Mark, was just getting started. He had walked through fire and come out the other side, not unscathed, but stronger, wiser, and with a newfound appreciation for his own resilience. He had learned that the end of one love story can be the prologue to a much better one. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. We all face hardships, but it's how we rise from them that defines us. See you in the next video.